The Uvalde community is only beginning to cope with Tuesday's tragedy. Soon, the parents of those young children will begin planning funerals. Back in 2018, Max Schachter felt that same anguish when he lost his son, Alex, in the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland, Florida. But he's taken his pain and he's turned it into purpose. Standing side by side with lawmakers, he has been advocating for safe schools for Alex, which recommends best practices for safer campuses. And Max is joining us right now. Max, I have to say, I was there in Parkland following that shooting. I just happened to be in Florida, and you could feel the tension in the air. It was just agonizing. And just to imagine what you all have been through, I have to ask first how you're doing.
It's really hard, especially after 19 children and 2 teachers are brutally slaughtered again. And it just keeps happening. Ever since Alex was taken from me and murdered in Parkland, I've made it my mission to prevent this from happening and this keep happening. And that's why I was so happy that maybe finally yesterday some good was going to come from these tragedies, and that was to pass some school safety legislation. But yesterday, I thought that partisan politics were going to be put aside, but I was naive to think that that was going to happen. The Congress has failed us. The Democrats won't give the Republicans a win. The Republicans won't give the Democrats a win, and we suffer.
And how, in honor of your son, I know that you don't want to let his life, Alex's life, be in vain. You founded an organization to help support safer schools. What have you been able to accomplish in real time?
So in Florida, we've been able to accomplish a lot. In Florida, we're doing things that no other state has done. We have mandated that there is an armed school safety officer on every campus. We have put threat assessment teams in every school in the state of Florida. Our governor just signed the new school safety bill. We passed multiple of them, where there is a mental health coordinator in every school district. We have a statewide anonymous tip reporting system, and I can go on and on. We formed an Office of School Safety, which we didn't have prior to that. So in Florida, we've made wholesale changes to the safety and security of our kids. Schools are much safer in Florida than where they were prior to the shooting. But federally, there's still a lot of complacency. And unfortunately, after COVID, school safety really took a back burner to where it should be on the priority list. And again, yesterday, just absolutely horrible news. And that brings me back to the day that this happened to us in Parkland. And my heart just goes out. My heart breaks for all of these families that now are having to go to the cemetery to decide whether or not they want their child to be buried in a casket in the ground or in a mausoleum or cremated. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. No parent should ever have to go through this, and Congress has to do something to help us.
I want to talk about what you're asking lawmakers to do. You actually tweeted Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. I want to bring that tweet up and read your quote. You tweeted that 21 people were murdered on Tuesday. Wednesday, you objected to passing the Luke and Alex School Safety Act, named after my son, who was murdered in Parkland. The bill will save kids' lives. Let's meet together to work to prevent the next Uvalde and Parkland. Has he responded?
No.
Do you get any type of response from lawmakers on this kind of action?
Well, actually, he did respond, and he put out a tweet, saying a mistruth that this bill would put more cops in schools, and that's not true at all. After the shooting, I traveled this country, and what I heard from many schools is that they were lost. They didn't know what to do. They asked me, where are these best practices? Where are these resources? And so I came up with this idea to create this federal school safety clearinghouse. And that's what we did. I worked with the previous administration to form this one-stop shop of school safety best practices and resources and dollars, because there were just all these agencies working in duplicating each other's efforts. It was very confusing for schools. So now we have schoolsafety.gov, which is the federal school safety clearinghouse, and this bill that's named after Alex, the Luke and Alex School Safety Act, turns that clearinghouse into law. And for the majority leader to say that this bill puts more cops in schools is just completely inaccurate and false. It's a website. That's all it is a website to get best practices and resources to schools, parents, and lawmakers. And I thought that maybe we would be able to put partisan politics aside and do something for the families, something for Uvalde, something for Parkland. And I just can't believe that we couldn't pass a bill that creates a website.
I know that this is a hard story. It's a hard story to cover. It's a hard story to talk about. You've lived what a lot of parents in Uvalde are experiencing for the first time right now. And I'm just hoping for peace for you and peace for them and strength as you enter this new phase, transitioning out of grief into strength and resilience. Thank you so much, Max, for your time, and best to you and your family.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.